Good morning. Good morning.
It's a great morning.
Isn't it wonderful to be gathered here?
You have no idea. We're still friends.
Whoa. All right. So let's start with the invocation. Okay. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the message of guidance. So I welcome you to this home, to this land. It's your land, it's your home. Oh, louder. Okay. I have a soft voice.
You want me to say?
I think our mic guy will make it louder for me. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I welcome you to the home, this community, the home of kindred spirits, kindred travelers, whether you've met before or not, that you find that home in each other. And then the home that's in here. And we're going to sing this beautiful song from Reb Shlomo Carmack, Return Again. And why don't we stand up and we'll sing this. And we're going to, we can hold hands and we can sway. Well, we can sway. Sway. Yeah.
Don't knock
Feng
anybody
shui.
over.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul.
We'll repeat that.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul.
Now, if you'd like, you can drop hands. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again.
Return again, return again, return to the
You can turn.
Return again. Return to the home of your soul.
Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn again. One more. Return again. Return again.
Return to the home of your soul. Return again. Return again. Return to the home of your soul.
Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are. Born and reborn Okay. Thank you. So, wow, here we are. We've arrived. Who's talking now? Me, I'm talking.
I'm actually listening.
No.
No, I am.
Dakini, you never listen to me.
That's not true, Genevieve. You never listen to me.
You know, sometimes I have to tell her to shut up.
Go ahead, try. Tell me to shut up.
Shut up, Dakini. Listen to me.
I love when you yell at me, Genevieve.
She's the only person I ever yell at.
It's an honor, you know, it's really an honor. Try again. You didn't do it really well the first time.
I love it when you say. She's the only one who lets me yell at her. She's the only one I'm comfortable.
I encourage her, actually.
Oh, that's it.
It's really easy. I mean, she's thousands of miles away. What
She's in
problem could it
Mexico.
possibly cause me?
She's in Mexico, and I'm in Rhode Island. And we're trying to write this book together. We don't recommend it.
Now, wait a second. I don't agree with that. I
Would you
got
do
a
it
lot
again?
out of writing this
Would
book.
you do it again?
Never. I don't know who had the idea in the first place. Oh, it was me. How was you?
It was me.
Right, okay. All right, whatever.
No.
Okay.
Well, you know, I was retired. Yeah, happily retired. Let's see. And sitting on my couch one day, I broke my hip, so I was in rehab for a long time. I just had a lot of space and time to sit around. And I kept having these visions of, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could interview people from the Abode? Because, you know, I spent some time thinking about my time here and realizing here I am, I'm in my 70s, and how much my life changed because I came here. And it changed the trajectory of my whole life. I didn't realize for a long time. I left the Abode, I went out in the world, right? Be in the world, but not of it, right? They boot you out of here. You know, you have to go out and be in the world. So I'm out in the world doing my thing. I get to become a librarian, and I do that thing. And I'm busy, and then I retire, and then I think, I come to the Abode, and it's like, oh, Pure Valiant, oh my God, the influence he had on my life. My whole life is undergirded by that. So this must be the reality for so many of you, right? So many of you. I wanted to. Okay. I'm moving too much. I'm nervous, okay. So I had these visions of, I want to interview Abodians and hear about your stories. What happened to you? How did you get here? What led you? What was the inspiration? Or did someone trick you into coming here? Or how is it you got here? Okay. And then, so one day, after I broke my leg, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm going through my phone and I'm cleaning up my address book. And I find Dakini Marlowe. Oh gosh, we were really close. We had a friendship 10 years ago or something. I said, I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call her. There's a phone number. Yeah, phone number. I'm not sure. Phone, text, and then. All right, your turn.
So I came to the Abode a year ago, June, after, I don't know, at least the last reunion, maybe I came after that. That was 10 years ago, right? And Nizam invited me to the archives to look at all the pictures and see, there were people had written names of the people in the pictures, except there were a lot of unidentified people, so she was asking me to see if I could identify anybody. And I was just finishing up self-publishing a poetry photo book. So I don't know, all of a sudden I heard somebody say, we need a book. And see, I always thought that was like direct, but now I'm realizing it really was She thinks she just contacted me with the text. No, she must have told me to do it, and it's all your fault. And then, but the miracle, really, really true miracle, was I had no idea how I was going to do this. I didn't spend 1 second thinking about, I have to find an editor, and I have to find this, and this is going to take this. Nothing. I'm just walking down the road one day, and the book is like, oh, we'll have a chapter on the farm, we'll have a chapter on the school, and it's all just coming right to me.
Yeah.
And then I go home a week later and I get this text. Now, I could not have even thought of what person I needed to do what. It would not, I wouldn't know who to look for, what to do. And Genevieve, what she didn't tell you is she's a librarian and amazing writer and actually a superhuman editor. I'm not kidding you. You know, there are 60 contributions. She read every one, maybe 5 times. And the 5th time, she's sending me emails like, in so-and-so's name, there's a space between the S and the R. And I'm what are you talking about? So it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just want to say a few more things. I'm so excited that so many of you are here to read what you wrote, because the contributions are just amazing and so touching and nostalgic. And I just want to share that the main thing that was gifted to me in doing this book was the clarity that Pure Vilayat's vision was totally a vision of community. And no one, I don't think, knew in 1975 what that really meant. Yeah, I want to go to a community. Well, did you have any idea? And certainly there was nothing that we have now called community building skills, where we may actually learn some things that would help us. Not that we needed any help. I mean, we did fine, like Genevieve and I just showed you. So I got very excited about it, and I started researching community building skills. And it's really exciting, and I hope some of you might feel a renewed interest in community. I want to say one reason I think Pure Vilayat's vision was community was absolutely prophetic, because when I ask myself now, what does the world need more than anything? in a psychopathic, sociopathic, divisive world. And on the other, and so we have skills to avail ourselves of, but the conditions are even harder than they were in 1975. And we're, a little older. So, throughout the session and for us and throughout the weekend, we hope that you will take the opportunity to really contemplate the Abode community, what it means to you now, how you might want to connect or be involved. Because we need to be a community, whatever happens here, because that's what sustained us, that feeling, right? And you feel it, every person, I don't even know, I feel it with here, right? So, okay, did I say what I wanted to say? I think so, okay.
Yes.
So now it's time for, to hear from you. So we want to invite everybody who's written.
Oh, you forgot.
And
You want to do
we're
Pir
gonna go through
Vilayat?
chapter.
You want to do the Pir Vilayat?
Oh, right, I forgot.
Yeah.
So the first thing, actually, before we read, is we have a short clip of Pir Vilayat in 1975, talking about the vision. So we're ready.
70 at the Woodstock camp in 1974. Some of you were there.
Well, now I felt like laughing when Sheldon was talking about his commune, because that's exactly what I was going to suggest myself. But of course, it's very much in the air, of course. We have to find a new way of life, a real concrete way of life. I think that, the fact of being together is very important. It's very stimulating, all this energy that's together, you see. We feel so united by similar objectives and similar aims and so on. In the world, one is kind of diluted by all kinds of people who are seeking all kinds of things. So I think we should join forces together. Well, there has, since a long time, of course, there has been a proposition of having a commune somewhere. We tried it out in San Francisco and in the Bay Area, and we were limited. It didn't come through anyway, but we were limited by the fact that the land was limited in its size and couldn't be increased, and because, it was going to be the majority of the people were going to be members of the Sufi choir, and it meant that other people couldn't be there, and there were some members who were not quite, so much dedicated to the ideal, the spiritual ideal. And now we feel that there's all this energy on the East Coast, and there doesn't seem to be so much scope on the East Coast. There's a lot on the West Coast, and on the East Coast there's a kind of a lacuna, a kind of gap. And we find that a lot of people who don't have jobs or don't even have a home, or just passing by, and who don't know where they're going to be tomorrow. I wish I could see an immediate solution, but I do see the possibility of forming a commune. Now, this would mean we would have to find a way of forming a commune on a completely new line. The communes have been successful or have failed on several grounds, one of them being, that people, generally very often you find the lazy people live on the hard workers, or the untidy people make everything untidy and the tidy people can't stand it. Or then you find that people who have, thank you, people who have an people perhaps don't want to, they could do because they, people feel that if they're giving a lot of energy, they feel they should have something. There is such a thing as personal enterprise, and if you kill that enterprise, then you do kill the spirit in people. So you have to have a commune in such a way that people have some incentive, like they have enough freedom perhaps to, let's say, have a nice house, or another person doesn't have such a nice house. It doesn't really, and where a person can go out and make money and after all and share something, but still have some means of living on his, let's say, out of his own initiative, and where people can coagulate together and work together, where people can bring their energy in, or I think there has to be some contribution so that one doesn't feel that one is just living on a donation, for example. There has to be some kind of initiative on your part. So we're trying to find a way of doing this. I think that we should find a place somewhere further south, because for a commune I think it's very important to be in the sun. So the United States offers this opportunity. You know, we're all crouched up here in the north, and of course it's wonderful because we're so near New York. And I mean, my proposition, I hope, does not stand in any way in conflict to Wahid project here and the project that we might find in that Shihabuddin has. But I think that what we want to do is perhaps a little bit different. We're thinking on a very large scale. We're thinking of something like 1,000 acres, and you know, that.
Yeah. Well, this video is on YouTube, and so if you want to watch the whole thing, it's available. And he goes on and asks at a point, well, if we were going to do this, if we're going to do a community, how many people would sign on? Raise your hand. So and then he looks around, there's hands. Let's do this now. How many people here sign on? If we're having a community, how many people are gonna come? We're gonna have a community. Oh, looks about 50%. Well, let's do it. Okay. Yeah, and here we are. Okay. So let's, what we're gonna do is, you're gonna read. Those of you who wrote something are going to come up here and read something from your piece. So I was gonna start actually not reading something that I wrote, but just reading a little bit from Stefan Reckstaffen. How many people remember Stefan? Yeah. So Stefan submitted a piece, but he wasn't able to be here today. So I'm just going to read a little bit, which expands the picture a little. And then we're going to go through kind of the order, kind of a chronological order of things here. And I will say the name of a chapter and the people who are in it, and then you can come up and read if you want to or not. So Stefan's piece is called "The True Start of the Abode." He says, while most people believe it began in 1975, the true start was in India in 1970. I had first met Pir Vilayat in New York at a public talk and discussed my plans to work as a doctor in India. He immediately mentioned he'd be at the Kumbh Mela in Hardwar and suggested we meet there. Months later, when I arrived, locals told me the event wasn't happening until the following year. Dejected, I searched for him before finally giving up and looking for transportation to the hospital in nearby Mussoorie. That's not pronounced right, but okay. While waiting in this city of 10 million people, a horse cart carrying Pierre Vilayet passed by. I jumped on, and he seemed equally elated. He declared he was searching for Ananda Maima, and off we went. Upon arrival, we discovered she had unexpectedly arrived just 20 minutes before us from southern India. Remarkably, she offered us darshan, and our spirits were lifted. Pierre Vilayet declared this a great omen and suggested we travel across the Ganges to Rishikesh to meet other luminous beings. After a few days of travel, he departed, informing me that Sri Bhagavan, his only teacher beyond his father, Hazrat Nayak Khan, would be in Missouri and that I should find him. We went our separate ways. I worked at the hospital in the mornings for 4 months and each afternoon spent time with Bhagavan, who lived on the floor of a local temple as a renunciate. He had previously been a professor and close associate of Mahatma Gandhi, having been imprisoned together during the Satyagraha movement, after which he gave up worldly ambitions to simply meditate at the temple. My life was forever changed. Upon returning to the US, I immediately went to the Woodstock, New York, to join Pierre Vilayet at a gathering of 300 to 400 people for Sufi dancing and spiritual teachings, all completely new to me. This is Stefan. On the second evening, Pierre Vilayet gathered about 60 long-term disciples into a large yurt, and someone informed me that I was invited as well. Being shy and knowing no one, I sat in the back of the room. Pierre Vilayet entered and began speaking of a vision where we would all live together as Sufis, creating a new community open to anyone who wished to join. After speaking for half an hour, he suddenly declared, and he's going to lead it, pointing directly at me. Much to my dismay. Within a few months, the search for the abode began, and soon after, Elizabeth, is Elizabeth here? Yay, all right, yay, Elizabeth. Okay, and let's see. After Elizabeth and I moved into Hercalia, is that how you say that? In Marin, in California with Pierre Vilayet and Taj. So initially, Pierre envisioned the abode in the south, where there's sun. But then Stefan and Sardar and Jacques and others went looking for a community. One day, Wavy Gravy came, and Stefan says, I remember him appearing with a bubblegum wad at his third eye. He told us about land in upstate New York, an old Shaker property that had been a camp for his hippie friends who are now selling it. We rushed there with Pierre Vilayet, and thus we found the site that would become the abode of the message. And Elizabeth, would you like to come up and read a little bit about the Shakers? Because Pierre wanted to go visit the Shakers once they found out that this was a Shaker community. That's good.
Oh, I'm overwhelmed and happy. Well, it's long. I tend to go on and on. So what I'm going to do is just paraphrase my letter and then read the response from Sister Mildred Barker, the head of the Shakers at the time. So we got here, and obviously there was this connection between us and the Shakers. And Pierre Vilayet had a vision that Mother Ann had come to him and said, you will continue the legacy of the Shakers, because we whirled and because we were hands to work and hearts to God and so many, and we sang. And so he was like, we're going to go up to the 8 remaining Shakers in Sabbath Day Lake, Maine, and we're going to get their blessing. We're going to continue the Shaker legacy. So we get in like a couple of VW vans, which was the national car of the Abode, and, you know, like a bunch of hippies and this white-robed guru, and we drive up to Maine, and here are these proper, prim Shaker women, 8 of them, the 8 remaining Shakers in the world, because Mother Ann had predicted that they would go extinct because at some point, because they were celibate, and they were only 8 of them left. So we meet them, and Pure Vilayat tells Sister Mildred Barker, who's amazing. You can see her videos singing online. We're here to get your blessing, blah, blah, blah. They were so friendly and kind and absolutely unfazed by what we must have looked like. And, well, they had bonnets and long skirts too, so, he said, you know, Mother Ann came to me and said, we're going to carry on your legacy. And Sister Mildred said, no, my dear, no, you're not. No, that's not the legacy. Everyone thinks that's the legacy, but no, we're going to go extinct, but have a wonderful time, or something like that. So, about a year or so later, Pure Vilayat he was like, no, because being in these buildings, as you all know who have lived here, like, it infuses you. The Shakers infuse. I mean, I was so affected by the Shakers. And he was like, no, could you write to Sister Mildred and see if she really believed that? So I did, and she wrote back to me. It's the most beautiful letter. I found it recently. I didn't even remember it, of course. Dear Elizabeth, I was quite moved by your beautiful letter of the 14th. This is 1977. How good it is to know that you and our dear friends at Mount Lebanon feel such a closeness to us and our heritage. I'm afraid there is no prophecy, such as to which you allude. For about 100 years, variations on this theme have appeared in a great variety of writings about believers. That's what the Shakers called themselves. With the accelerated decline in membership evident over the last 30 years, the so-called prophecy seems to have been more and more widely disseminated. A very thorough examination of Mother Ann's sayings, both printed and manuscript, reveals no such prophecy. Mother did give continued assurances that, quote, the work would go on, as she has also assured us that the work could continue, although only one soul believed in a generation. It is perhaps from sayings such as these that this legend began. I hope that this may be of some help to you. I am most humbled that you have felt that I was the person to judge concerning the question at hand. We are in the midst of harvest here at Sabbath Day Lake. We feel most blessed that God has given us such a very good one. The leaves are beginning to turn, promising much beauty yet to come. What a constant reminder of divine presence there is in the expression of divine self, which we can see each day in the natural world around us. How good to know that we too can grow and change as his nature does. All of my brothers and sisters here at Chosen Land join in sending you and your community our fond love in the Spirit, Mildred Barker. Thanks.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I can't help, I have to read the end of Elizabeth's piece, which she didn't read, which is, while we did not receive the Shakers' blessing to continue their work, I like to imagine that in other spheres where formality and dogma are washed away with other human constructs, Mother Ann and Pure Vilayat are whirling together, laughing at all the made-up rules and regulations, and instead reveling in their oneness of purpose and their prayers for love, harmony, and beauty to prevail. Thanks. Thanks. Right. I've asked Akbar Manolson to read a piece that was written by Mikhail before he passed. Mikhail had written an unpublished work called The Making of a Revolution, which is about the coming of the New Age and experience with it. And he has a chapter, he writes about the abode. And would you like to read that? Okay.
Well, first he says here, the plan was to live in tents at the start, and the climate had to be warm enough, and there had to be lots of fertile land for us to farm. And after many months of searching, it was decided to purchase some acreage in South Carolina, and the price and the weather seemed right. And then at the last moment, word came of a Shaker village for sale in northern New York State. It had its own small lake and a mountain and fine views of the Hudson Valley. And on the other hand, the winter weather was too cold, and the growing season was too short, and most of the land was too steep to farm, but it was too good to turn down. And then Mikhail writes a bit about his own calling card of how he came to be here. He said, I first saw Pierre Verlaide in a movie about the birth of the New Age, and I knew instantly he was to be my teacher. He was not that easy to find, as he traveled a lot those days, so I headed for California, which I knew was his base. And when I got to Sausalito, Sufi dances were happening in the building where the Grateful Dead rehearsed, past Gate 6 in Golden Gate Park. And after the dances, there was a request for a plumber to fix Pierre Verlaide's toilet. I raised my hand. I was not really a plumber, but I had fixed toilets a couple of times. He was not home at the time, but I discovered that he was planning to start a community, and so I was invited there because they needed a plumber. I was invited there to be the plumber. The community was named the Abode of the Message. The property came with 10 buildings on 450 acres. It had been on the market for 7 years with no takers. That was not surprising because the cost of the deferred maintenance was much higher than the purchase price. We gradually discovered how much maintenance had been deferred. We had not known, for instance, that the heating system was defunct, the sewerage was secretly emptying into a creek. However, we did know that the dining hall wall was collapsing, many floors were rotten, and there were at least 100 broken windows. That was only a guess. It turned out that many of the original ideas this is an interesting sentence. It turned out that many of the original ideas were pure fantasy. This little chapter is called Vision Meets Reality. The truth is that neither Pierre nor anyone else had any idea what we were getting into. No one knew anything about running a community, little alone about building one up from scratch. The message, well, he says there was a contradiction between the original vision and what was actually achievable, and that became evident in the name. The message was the Sufi message of Hazrat Anat Khan, and we had only the vaguest idea about what the Sufi path entailed, and perhaps that was just as well. What it required was letting go of who we were, or at least everything we thought we were, but that many of us were still trying to find out, which made letting go of it quite a challenge.
Is Taj Martel here? Taj, would you like to read your piece from? We have a chapter. We have a chapter that respects the sacredness of the land.
Haven't seen it here yet. Thank you. Good
I'm going
morning.
to steal this out from here so I can work on the next one.
So I was thinking about writing this in the winter, and I remembered something about 10 years ago. There was a talk given by John Young, and he was a student of Tom Brown, and maybe you know him. He wrote The Tracker. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
And
it's okay. You know,
No. Well, The Tracker was a book when I lived here in the late 90s, mid-90s. A lot of people were
Yeah.
excited about it. And it was talking about mentoring children in nature and the future and lots of other things. So John Young was a student of his, and he started this whole process of teaching kids in nature. And my children were part of the first year of homeschooling here with Flying Deer. And John Young spoke, so I went, and I was driving from Vermont 10 years ago, and a huge rainbow was coming down over the church where I was going. And John Young said he was very worried about the future. What would happen when people weren't connected to the land? And how would we have a multi-generational connection on large properties where children could run free? And I just thought about it. I said, I was raised like that. He said, who would know what that was like? And I said, I do, because I grew up here. So it was just so inspirational to me. I can't even really say the words how much this was a formative part of my life. And I really folded that into my family and my future, and then the future here. And so I wrote about a memory of when I first came, a treasure house of splendor, I called it. So the sacredness of the abode land extends to every visitor with a kind and inspiring presence, bestowing beauty and renewal to all. The dynamism of the sanctuary is much more than any one detail of its landscape, but rather a powerful source of life energy that emerges throughout each moment and every season of the year. To be connected to this place means that you will always remember something special that you experienced and want to return to again, to find. You can trust there are gifts in the future that the abode will always bring. Witnessing the hard work, growth, and resulting change that people undergo here is only one part of the landscape, and a coming and going of many people over centuries marks the time. However, the land itself has and will remain a constant companion from one source. I was first aware of the abode land being magical when I was a sleeping child being carried in from the car one night. I remember waking up suddenly to look up at the expansive array of the Milky Way. Even as a 6-year-old, I thought the stars looked ever more beautiful at the abode than anywhere that I had ever seen. Do you have a memory of the stars here and how bright it is at night? It was a moment of surrender to something that was larger than myself and embodied the splendor of the universe. The sounds of the abode at night and the smell of the wood smoke only made its majesty feel more inviting, and I was sure it would be a place I was connected to forever. As Pierre Vilayet wrote, the world is a treasure house of splendor, manifesting as beauty. The abode is a natural expression of this splendor. It embodies the universal qualities that people come from and belong to. renewing our relationship with nature completes us.
So now we'll move into a little more of the early experiences here. I'm looking around. Do you want to read, Catherine? Sure. Okay. Yes, do you want to? Okay. She has what?
She has a copy.
Oh, okay. Are you okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I just have to find my page.
Oh, I had it for you, but
56, I think it is. Oh. Those help. I just couldn't write one thing. It was like, but then there's this and there's that. So I called my part snippets of the early years. I lived at the Abode in what we referred to as the golden years, the mid to late 70s. There were 150 of us, 100 adults and 50 children. I met my dear Cooley and built a house with him, made long-standing friendships, became deeply immersed in the message, learned how to live with lots of people in the pocket of my heart. Then I went to the meditation hall. The depth of love. Ramana would walk down from morning meditation right through that door. The depth of love, seeing our companions of morning meditation walking down the steps into the meditation hall. Deep soul connection, more love. So many beautiful weddings. I had 2. Yes. And then there's the barn. At the 1, 2, 3 seminar, which is what got me here, Pirvalayat, Swami Rama, and Ramdas, people slept on the floor in the barn, in their sleeping bags, and on the upstairs floor of the meditation hall. It had been an apple drying shed. Did I mention it was cold? I think it was March. The free store on the top floor of the barn had a wardrobe for every occasion. The printing press in the basement, where Ramana and Cooley at the helm, a gang of us putting together the message volumes. I mean the little message, not the message volumes, but the one that came out monthly. Walking around the table, we'd like pick up a paper, pick up a paper, pick up a paper, turn, while we were singing, pick up a paper, pick up a paper. That was how some of those came out. Not bad, though. The underground river in front of the barn that made spring springy underfoot. And here we come to Fatah. Oh yes, the covey of smokers snuggled together on Fatah's front porch, looking for a dry spot to smoke those cigarettes. And wasn't it Ramdas who said, "It's amazing that there's only one bathroom for so many people? It shows the beauty of this place." And then, of course, the bakery on the first floor. And Nuranisa just reminded me of the rats, but never mind. The wonderful smell. Our square pies. Remember our square pies? They were pi r squared. They were apple pie. And oh, the yummy bread and those nuts. a bakery dilemma. Oh, here it is. What do we do with all those rats in a community that treasures life? Oh, remember we talked about black snakes and never mind. And one of the guys said, I'll stand there with a rifle and I'll get them. And we're all like, no. Okay, then. Those people on the 4th floor, and Alita and Sarita and Melissa Claire, and dress-up clothing was always available. And deepest friendships were forged. And then we come to Razak. I don't have too much more. Well, maybe I do. Of course, the dining room with its amazing abundance, the announcements, the morning meetings by the works commissioners. The library with family meetings and celebrations, a puppy pile of friends laughing together, and Arif saying, let me repeat what I was about to say. You know, if we put a wall here, we could make 2 rooms out of this room. Ah, the back dining room. Maybe it will be quieter there. And then there was Dawla, that's now Mukni. The kitchen, we paraded into to sip another cup of tea with friends. The laughter, the music, the shared stories of sadness and joy. The mud. The mud. The ghosts in the attic. Sherdil, the farmer, came down to breakfast one morning and said, I woke up this morning and there was a guy in the rocking chair in my room. And then I realized, I don't have a rocking chair. Or, oh wow, I wasn't in bed when the ceiling fell on it. Our mission, to make a beautiful world of wonderful people. And to have the courage to be who you really are. Often heard, we need someone to organize this event. Oh, yeah, I don't know how to do that. Well, no problem, you'll learn. There you go.
Okay, all right. You know, we could stay here all day and listen to these stories, and we don't have time for everybody. So even some people I asked to read, I think we're going to have to hold off. But I've been thinking, Merlin, do you want to come and read your A Day in the Life? Let's see. Here.
Oh, I don't need my glasses.
Yeah,
You really made it big for people like me.
good. You're not the only one.
Oh, no, I have some. I guess I do need them. I guess I was in the semi-decline of the abode, because I guess there was 50 or 60 people living here then, maybe more. Half of them children. But it was an amazing part of my life, raising a family here and just having a lot of fun. That's what I did here. Between the meals and laughing and fighting, and we did fight a lot.
Driving your car onto the frozen pond and tossing kids into the...
Yeah, things like that. But this is just my memory of what I loved about it. So 7:30 a.m., breakfast circle. Circle up for prayers. O thou sustainer. I'm using italics for titles in this classic melody. Breakfast at Mike's Pretty Good Diner. Hash browns and eggs made to order. Coffee too, around the kitchen island. Or on Saturday workday, waffles with Wally, complete with maple syrup and fruit. Or a big bowl of granola a la Mirabai from the extra large crock near the walk-in. 8 a.m., Gabriel and Anika off to Mountain Road School for the day. Judy Johnson, director. 8:10, off to work at the farm with Shakur, along with other work exchange people. Or rebuild Mother Ann Lee's house, lifting it out of the earth and back into existence. Or once a month on workday, fill Razak basement to the ceiling with 4-foot logs and a long snaking wood chain. Always fun. 10 a.m. Tea break at the dining hall, maybe a game of chess in the back room. See what's for lunch, usually last night's dinner warmed up. 12 o'clock, prayer bells. Did you stoke the wood stove, dear? Yes, Arifa, I did. 12:15 p.m., noonday prayers with Aftab and Rabia. 12:30 p.m., lunch circle. Sing O Thou Sustainer as a Gregorian chant. Oh, wow. Heated up leftovers from dinner and fresh salad. Thank you, Mirabai. 1:30 p.m., back to work fixing the old barn doors, repairing the roof and putting on a new gutter in front, or laying a new floor in the family room. 4 p.m., dinner preparation with Judy Johnson. Tofu loaf, anyone? Wow, Shiva was really loud today. Do you remember that, Shiva? What Shiva was? It was a blender that just scared the hell out of you. Or on Friday, pizza night with Ted and Teddy Johnson, with our own tomatoes from the year before. Dairy-free options too. 5:30 p.m. prayer bells. 5:45 evening prayers with Aftab and Rabia and others. 6 o'clock dinner. Circle up around the old willow tree in the courtyard, singing to the tune of the Beverly Hillbillies. Do you remember that one? Announcements. Parents with children and cleanup crew go first. Silent dining in the back room. 6:15. Fill up the car wash with hot water. Set up the tubs for dishes in the scullery. 6:30. Watch all the children in the family room, making sure that no one gets hurt on the concrete floor. Boy, those kids can scream. Or sliding down Pierre's driveway in a train of sleds with all the children. Or volleyball below the herb garden, 10 or 12 to a side. Or a good game of sardines in Razak. The basement is off limits. Don't run in the children. Don't run in the children. Don't run in the building, children. Yes, Arifa. Or Anika talking to the fairies as she picked flowers planted around Razak. Don't let Arifa catch you, sweetie. 7:15. Bell for evening classes. 7:30. Message class with Maharaji, Yakin, Rabia, or any other senior teachers. 8:30. Bedtime for my children, so it's over to Mountain Road School. Pick up some good children's books to read before sleep, as many as they want. And 10 p.m., sauna Wednesday and Saturday. Friday is women's night. Fill that bathtub with cold water for the cold plunge. And don't scream so loud that you get the Fatah residents to complain. 11 p.m. Stoke that stove one more time. Yes, Arifa, it's done, dear. Anyway, thank you.
Well, we have a chapter on Mountain Road School, but I think we don't have time to read that. So I think this would be a good chance we have a chapter called Abode Kids Speak, Growing Up at the Abode. So let's see. Bettina, do you want to read something from yours?
Show me the page.
Yeah. Page 110. And
I just want to add before Bettina reads that when you look at the book, there are these pictures of Bettina and her sister when they were like 3 years old. in costume, so check it out.
I haven't seen them yet.
You haven't seen them.
No.
All right. All right.
Oh,
It's a lot.
I did write a lot, so
Yeah.
we'll not read all of this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Sorry to put you on the spot.
yeah, I did write a lot. Yeah, so I got here the day before my 3rd birthday in 1983 from California. And I had fun writing my section, so if you guys want to read it, it's really about all the blessings of all the different people I got to hang out with. And I shouted out that thing about Merlin because, you know, I think being here, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cry. It's
Yeah.
not tears, but
I'll cry with you. Yeah.
I always say that if I grew up on some random street corner with my parents who love me very much but were very dysfunctional, I wouldn't have experienced all the things that I did. And it's like they knew enough to bring us here. And so yeah, Merlin and Richard would throw us off the dock into the water. And it was so fun. And I think I wrote, remembering, like, I got scared one time and I asked them to stop and they did. And then I just went back on. I work with kids now, and just to like feel the fun and the adventure and like the protection and like the consent of like, yes, I will honor you. And just hearing you say you just had fun all the time, like that's very sweet. Like it was a lot of fun. And we didn't have that same lightness in my nuclear family as much. So it was like got to hang out with Merlin. And as I think about different people who influenced me, you know, Mirabai was Marcus and I's kindergarten teacher, and Ray and Dylan as well. And then I learned how to cook with her and my dad in the kitchen. They would tie up our aprons, you know. And when I was 15, I got to cook breakfast for the mountain retreat and walked up and had some really peaceful times. And May was my 3rd grade teacher when that was her first year teaching when I was 8. And I would always hear, you were Bijali at the time,
Yeah.
Dakini, with my mom, hanging out and giggling and talking and astrology. I didn't know what they were talking about. There were a lot of friends that my mom made here. And Richard Holstein has come up a lot. I didn't spend a lot of time with him, but his presence with like playfulness with dogs and building that bridge to nowhere up on the sanctuary, and I think his personality made a big difference on me. Made a big impact on me. I wrote when I was like 17 and had just learned to drive. I was being stupid and like taking a blind corner past the pond because I don't know what I was doing. And he came the other direction and noticed me, did not hit me head on, and then pulled me over and said in the most caring and stern way, but not really mean at all, just like, don't do that. Like, it's really bad, you might die. I was like, I never did that again. So, like, there's a lot of like fairy godmothers and fairy godfathers. And Dawn, I'm looking over at you too. I remember I had like some weird interaction with someone who was volunteering here, and I was standing in the scullery, and I think he was having a little bit of a mental health thing, and he was saying something to me, and I think I was a teenager. And Dawn's like, "Don't worry about it. You didn't do anything. It's okay." Like there was all these people here. It's like all these safeguards, you know. And Yakin, I don't have a specific memory around my entire childhood. Just like a lot of sweetness, just so much, and just really appreciate your presence and who you are, and Wahab as well, just filling the room here. Yeah, Michael. So Gabriel. Yeah, so wonderful to see all of you, and Noor. Used to go spend a lot of time with Ray. As a 3-year-old, she was my best friend, so Ray and I, all the way up through at least 3rd or 4th grade, we spent pretty much all of our time together. So I would be up in her house and wandering around, and we would crush rocks and put them on our face, pretend it was makeup. Go around in the woods and pretend that the woods were some sort of house with a kitchen and I don't really know what. Yeah. Yeah, all of you. If I didn't mention your name and we had a connection, I am sure I remember it, and I wrote a lot more here. So, hi, Anika. Remember when you were born also, even though we're not that far apart, but, and I see you have kids over there who are like teenagers or something. Yeah. So, yeah. And a lot of people showed up for Oliver as well. And, uh-oh. Okay. I want to say something briefly, just really brief, because we don't have a lot of time to talk to them.
I know.
Thank you all so much, really. Yeah.
Hi, I am Oliver Doughty, and I'm one of Camp Hill Bakery. I'm from Camp Hill Village, Copiague.
He lives in
New
a
York.
local anthroposophical community 45 minutes away. So, yeah. You want to say anything about what the abode means to you, and then we'll sit down again?
Yeah. All right. Well, the abode means to me that most of the time when I'm born here and raised in this town of Lee, of New
He can do it.
New Lebanon, New York. And basically, it means to me that is a ridiculous of people who are the most important of life, of aspects of the most important things that you ought to know about me, because I'm the one who has Down syndrome that I could not with, but I was born blind as a baby, and I couldn't see much. So basically, it's like hard for me. So basically, it's the most challenge, most difficult thing for me, that the most important life of aspect, and the whole of the community here is so peaceful here to be back, and thank you.
And Amin and Oliver had a dialogue about what the abode means to him, and it's in the book. So that's, can read that. Are there any other abode kids who would like to come up and read a little something? Or yes, okay. Okay.
Oh, that's me.
Great.
Hi. I'm Amrita, or Amy. I'm the daughter of Michael, or Latif, and Gowrie. It's nice to be here. I appreciate your tears. Okay. So I was here mostly 82 to 93-ish, and I wrote something I will try to read. Okay. From the moment I was born until I was about 11 years old, my life centered around the abode. The physical spaces, the sounds, and the movements. I was raised by the dinner bell, by grace, hands held in circle, prayer, by the buildings, the staircases, and the paths, by bare feet on the pebbles in the courtyard, the herb garden, and the stream, by the dancing, the walking, and the daily routines. The spaces, sounds, and movements of the abode helped build in me a foundation and how to create and live in community, and how doing so can change in form and meaning at different times throughout one's life. From the quiet of the meditation hall to the loud volume of the dining hall at mealtime, I learned about space, behavior, and the contexts that shape how we interact and engage with each other. How to move from one space to another, to adapt, and to see value in each type of space, relationship, and place. As a child, being surrounded by adults seeking enlightenment provided many unsupervised hours many. But we turned out fine, we were fine. And established in me a foundation of independence and autonomy built by the trees, the pond, the woods, the library, and the hallways, often empty except for us, the kids. We played games and snuck around, stole peaches from the cellar, ran quickly through the dark to the dining hall for dinner, transformed the lawns into playing fields. We created our own rules and explored power dynamics, leadership, and followership. While I do recall conflict among us at times, I recall how much we helped each other and supported each other. How we established our own sense of agency and voice. So many of the memories of my time at the abode share both solitude and collective. I remember being alone a lot, in the woods, and in the library, in the gardens, and at the playground. I also remember being in large groups at special events, family meetings, meals, and dances, in both the times of solitude and the times of collective. I remember feeling like I belonged. Thank you.
No.
I could, but I don't know what page I'm on at all. I haven't even seen the entry.
What's your name? I should know.
Aya
Aya.
Victoria
Oh, yeah.
Lexman.
Yeah, you're right in here. Let's see. You're right here.
Okay.
And there's a lot. So
Yeah, I
you
kind
might-
of wrote a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll have
Can
to
you
pick a little
handle
bit.
picking certain
Yeah.
things? Okay. You're good. I think it's good.
So mine's also a little bit of snippets.
Yeah, she's gonna.
I think I'm gonna start just
She's choosing.
with the playfulness and the forest. Because we've talked a lot. My name is Aya Victoria Lexman, and I was here from 1996 to 2020. I remember playing by the stream with my dear friends where we made pottery, boats, fairy houses, and picked berries. One time in August, Kai and I foolishly decided to pick berries while wearing very hot snowsuits for protection. It worked, but it was very hot. Then there were many hours spent wandering from house to house late into the evening with my friends, their house to the next house of my friends, and we would share so many adventures, deep discussions, giggles, games, music, snacks, cuddles, until my mom, who I'd forgotten to update, finally found the correct friend's house on the street to call to find me. I remember many times making snowmen, snow women, snow throne slides, tunnels and forts, and snowballs by the dozens with Isla and Kaya and many other friends, and delighting in them for half the day. There were many afternoons of quiet, solo exploration and adventure, when I would pick a direction from my house through the woods and just walk, look, and listen. Until I either saw a house and had to turn around, or found a good sitting rock, and there were a lot of them, from one of the mossy glacial erratics scattered throughout the land, and then I would sit quietly until I was ready to go home. At home, I remember lying next to my brother Christopher, late into the night, talking about philosophy, spirituality, music, love, hobbies, memories, dreams. I felt so lucky to have a brother I could be close with and connect with deeply and playfully, especially after the insufferable teaser he'd been for the first 8 years of my life. I spent time with my birds and just the community of the farm, the community of the system of check-in people, where after school I could just walk over to the main building and be like, "Hi, will you be my check-in person? Will you be my check-in person? Will you be my check-in person?" And eventually somebody would say yes. And that would mean that every so often I would tell them where I am and that I'm okay and what I'm doing. And if they couldn't find me, they would look for me and call my mom. And if I found, and usually they could find me, and usually everything was fine, and then I would call my mom on the main phone in the dining room and be like, "Hi, I have a check-in person, it's this person." And then I would go wandering around for the rest of the day with my friends, and it was so wonderful. And just like things like that, you don't find most places. And I loved being here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what do you think so far? You have no idea. I mean, I'll just say a few things before we go on to say that immersing myself in all this and reading all of this was just overwhelming. And then after we started putting the text in, I was leaving space for pictures. And Lucas, who just arrived, was sending me all these digitized pictures from the archives. I had pictures, other people were sending pictures. So my next job was to go through all these pictures and pick out pictures to go, oh, that one for there, or that one for there. And it was very confusing, I'll tell you that, but just doing that whole process. But it was just, for all the other stress, which was mostly because of time. I mean, 6 months. We did this in 6 months. And really, because I really could never have done this literally without this woman. She was absolutely amazing. Even if I drove her crazy, she put up with me. That was the hardest thing. But
It would not have happened without this woman. She's the engine, she's the engine. This is where we're going. She'd keep it going forward.
I was so terrified we wouldn't get there. I had to keep it going.
Yeah. I'm lost in the stories,
Yeah.
Totally.
And the details, and I have no
The details, the periods, the commas.
And then there were the moments at the end where it was like, I close my eyes and I see us all here, right? And oh my God, it's wonderful. And then I blink and I go, there's no book. We don't have the book. So, but we somehow did it.
It came.
So
I have an idea.
Okay.
Which is to put to all of you the direction we go in. We have a half an hour left.
No, we won't have to hear from Gabriel.
Yeah, we're going to hear from Gabriel. But not, yeah. So here's what we have to offer. We can keep reading stories until just about the end of the time. We're going to hear from Gabriel no matter what. Or we can, we brought paper and pens, and we wondered if people might like to take a little time to write what has come up for them upon hearing all these stories. If you want to take some time to write a memory or just write your response.
What the abode means to you now, what the community means to them.
Anything. So we could hear from a couple more people, and then we could write, or we could keep reading. We
I
could.
don't think you have that much.
We have to tell
Or
them.
people can just speak, come up and speak spontaneously if anybody wants to share anything.
Yeah.
You haven't had a chance to share, we don't need to write, you're welcome to come up and have an open mic, and
Yeah.
we'd love to hear from everybody.
So this is reminiscent of Pir Vilayat. No, I'm going to ask for a show of hands.
Yes, so,
Okay, so how many people would like to just keep stories, and you can come up and comment?
who would like to write?
Who would like to write?
No one.
Okay,
Well, that's clear.
okay.
So Gabriel, I just, before you come up, yeah. Well, of course, this is the man.
I'm looking for holes in the agenda. This is too good.
That's good.
Well, how about, what, a Yafata or something?
No.
No, nothing? Okay. Well, I love what you wrote, so I hope you,
Okay, I'm getting this out now.
I mean, you
Put
can
a
read
hand
parts of
somewhere.
it. You don't have to read all of it.
Well,
Whatever you want.
what I was going to say
You could
was,
just
Yeah,
talk.
say whatever you want.
Yeah.
you don't need to hear me read this. You can read it yourself. You could buy the book. Part of the proceeds go to the abode. Not a bad thing. So I can read it, but I do have to say a couple of things. We have set up a video booth for people to be recorded and talk about the abode. Hannah, are you still in here? See her. It was wonderful to hear from all the children, but not for nothing, some of you people are looking a little older. And maybe you should get a video recording, so just like what we saw with Pir Vilayat, we can see everybody's memories and them when they go on. So I would like to say that. I would also like to say that I'm fairly good friends and correspondent with Brother Arnold up at Sabbath Day Lake and Sister June as well. Brother Arnold has visited the abode twice. Once in the 70s when he was on a spiritual journey trying to figure out where he wanted to end up, and he chose Shakers, and I chose Sufis, and it seems to get along pretty well, actually. And he came a few years ago for, we had a meeting, what was it, where's Joaquin? Shakers, Sufis, and indigenous people, and it was a wonderful thing. But he can't leave Sabbath Day Lake for like more than 24 hours, so it's a long drive. It was here and back. I have no idea what it was. I find the Shakers very inspiring too. I learned my carpentry working on these buildings, and I think the only two people that may know this are Vimla and Atum about the Shaker ghosts that I saw working in the wood shop, which scared me a little bit and has always made me careful around table saws. So I don't remember what I wrote. I guess I'll read it, or part of it. Yeah, it's not too bad. The abode has seen many incarnations. I arrived in 1982 at the age of 21. I'm still, can I get through this? Sorry. It's too hard. I can't do it.
Can I read it for you?
Yes, please. I did write it, but I'm not going to get through it. I'm going to be a bubbling mass of emotion right here. All right, we'll give it a whirl. I'm still in awe of those hardy pioneers who founded the abode of the message. Many I know, all I've heard of, too many have passed on. now 50 years later, with many abode stories to tell, the one I will tell here is about the transition in its most current incarnation. As has been the custom, every 5 years we have a reunion, except we did not have a 45th due to the pandemic. That almost was the death knell for the abode, but we fought back, and we're working on a plan to rebuild after the decimation of our residents, our programs, and pretty much everything that made the abode the abode. We survived, and most importantly, the abode is still here. My first 5-year reunion would have been in 1985, and 10 years after the abode's founding. Akbar and Aziza were the co-presidents, as we called the role then. This was, I think, incarnation at least number 2, as Pirvalite, Taj, and many others had left for Santa Fe and other places, and Akbar and Aziza were tasked with running the place. I met my future wife, Vimla, at the abode. We wed in 1984 and celebrated 40 years this past June. That would have been a year ago this past June. But anyway, we bought a house 2.5 miles down the road in 1986, and like most everyone who has ever lived at the abode, moved on. It can be an intense place to live. In 1991, we were blessed with a daughter, Sarah Noor, who lives in New Lebanon, 4 houses down from where she grew up. Most importantly, she's the farmer at the abode, running the abode farm. Everyone loves the farm, and in almost equal measure, loves Sarah, myself and Vimla included. 10 years ago, in 2015, we celebrated the 40th abode reunion. A lot happened at that reunion. Something was in the air. Vimla and I had a house full of guests. Savitri prominent amongst them. Savitri, I know you're in here. Somewhere. Savitri made this. For those who do not know, Savitri was on the committee tasked by Pirvalite to find a suitable place to build the abode circa 1974. She built the stained glass window behind the altar in the meditation hall, has been a stalwart supporter of the abode and dear friend of Vimla. The 40th reunions were not like previous ones. It was, of course, wonderful to see old friends and make new ones, to catch up and talk and be with so many kindred souls. Still, the vibe was different. It was different because the United Order was conflicted about its future, and because the head of the order, Pirzia, had made the abode his home and been in residence for some time, and in truth longer than his father had actually lived here. This conflict was not merely about the usual abode issues surrounding living in community everyone who has ever lived here understands. It was more fundamental. During a morning attunement in the meditation hall led by Taj and Ayat, thank you, I experienced a profound vision. It was transformative on many levels. I have spoken of it in the past and will touch on it briefly here, as the abode's current situation is a direct result of what happened next. It is not something I discuss with any frequency, but is a source of tremendous fortitude when things look bleak. I will be forever indebted to Taj, who not only opened a door in my being this experience might happen, but also took the time afterwards to walk me through it and help to guide me on my way. There are not enough superlatives to express my gratitude to her. Oh, did I drop it? In essence, I saw that the United Order and the abode were like two plants in the same pot bound and strangling each other. That Pirzia's mission required him to move on from New Lebanon, New York, and the abode of the message and the abode's future was as chaotic as the order's was clear. Soon thereafter, the order moved to Richmond, Virginia, founded the Astana, and charted a course for itself, neither confined nor constrained by or to the abode. I found myself on the abode steering committee that eventually became the abode board, separate from but answerable to the order's board. This was about incarnation number 6. When I first arrived at the abode, Purvelite had just moved on, taking many with him, and leaving those behind asking, what's next? Now Pure Z was moving on, taking many with him, and leaving those left behind asking, what's next? We did our best and were on the verge of coming out of the exodus strong and vibrant when COVID hit, and everywhere the pause button was hit. As we slowly came out of the pandemic, the abode hired a new executive director. We did this with the help of the order and its executive director, Alia Whitman, used a consulting firm that they had previously employed. We ended up with a turnaround guy with experience in the hospitality industry, and we're hopeful for a rebuild and rebrand. It was not going to go the way expected by anyone, and the story gets ugly. Any of the preceding paragraphs could be a chapter of a book, and what comes next could be a book itself. But as this is a chapter in a book, it needs to be brief. I will do my best. I will also do my best to keep the vitriol out of the narrative. It will seep through, though. Well, no, it doesn't. It took a while, but that wound is pretty much healed. It weren't pretty, though. With the knee, I don't know if I want to read any more of this. You know, I'm going to skip that part. What the hell?
It's in the book, buy it.
Yeah, it's in the book. Excellent suggestion. I'll read this part. With the aid of the new executive director, we formulated a plan, but we needed significant cash to carry it out. The abode coffers were thin with only a trickle of revenue stream. We proposed to mortgage the abode. The order's reply was to dismiss the abode board and put it up for sale. This broke my heart, but what was to come next broke it further. The order engaged real estate appraisers. They came to the abode before the termination date of the then abode board, so I was able to be present to help give a tour and hear what they had to say. What they had to say was many of the buildings might be more valuable if torn down and sold for parts. Yeah. But the mountain was the crown jewel with a possibility of 2 to 3 mansions, a helicopter pad, the road up to the camp, and a well, making these multi-million-dollar parcels. Somewhere there is an email I sent to the order board shortly thereafter, full of sorrow as to what the decision to sell would mean to the abode, the mountain, the resting place of more than one set of ashes, and all that everyone who had ever been to the abode would lose. But sorrow soon turned to anger, and anger to action. I took a semester leave from college to study Sufism and live at the abode. The leave lasted 14 years, and during... Yeah, no kidding. And during that time, I became a carpenter, learning on shaker buildings and from a long line of abode carpenters. I then returned to school and became a lawyer. After news spread of the orders, I have some mist in my eyes, so sometimes the words are blurry. After the news spread of the order's intention, many came forward to help. Singularly among them was Whitney Scott, Akbar, who at 80-something and long retired from the practice of law, was and still is sharper and more knowledgeable than I ever was at the pinnacle of my career. We educated ourselves in New York not-for-profit law, engaged the services of a firm specializing in this area, created our own not-for-profit, Friends of South Family, stocked it with board members recently dismissed, and began the process of disabusing the order of the notion they could simply sell the abode for profit. Make no mistake, they could have gotten away with it if no one had stood up and said, no, you cannot. But because people who cared about the abode and its survival were willing to take a stand, educate themselves on the law, argue their point, and negotiate a solution, ownership of the abode was transferred from the Sufi Order, Inc., a California corporation doing business as the United Order, to Friends of South Family, Inc. Subsequently, Friends of South Family transferred ownership of the Abode of the Message to the Abode of the Message, Inc. The abode no longer has another organization to answer to. It is the master of its own fate. Ownership is a misnomer, as in the not-for-profit world, you do not own entity but are responsible for it. So, replace the word owner for steward, and you are closer to the mark. It is easy to understand how one might think of the abode as a possession which could legally be sold in whole or in part to the highest bidder, which turns out not to be the case. Morally, well, I'll not pass judgment. It's over. The plants are finally in their own separate pots, tended by people who care. It is to all our betterment that both prosper and bloom. The above is but a brief accounting. To say the rough edges have been smoothed over is an understatement. It was a difficult process. There are many known and unknown who made it possible for us to get to 50 years. In addition to those mentioned above, I wish to acknowledge Mahbub, Ameh, Al, and Taj Martel for providing dedicated leadership to the transition process. So, we've made it to 50 years. We're here to honor our past and celebrate our present, look forward to the future. I think we're well positioned to get to the next 50 years. I don't think I'm going to make the 100th. I'm going to go for the 75th. Please make yourself available and go get your video taken if you're older than me. And I hope to see you in 5 years for another one of these.
Before. You know, Atum always said, if you might remember, he always gave us an invitation. If you'd like to sigh, you're welcome to sigh. So I think this is a sighing moment. So if everybody wants to... And remember Atum, and remember all the other many, more than we might like to think, people who have been part of the abode, who are no longer with us. And I want to take a moment. We have a chapter in the book for memorials, and we have quite a number of people who wrote about Arifa and Aftab.
And there will be a memorial at 2 o'clock.
And there will be a memorial, but in the book, we actually have a couple of pages where we just listed all the names that we had. There might be more people, but I thought that maybe we'll just take a moment now to just have a little quiet moment and think about all the people that we loved, or maybe didn't even know and still loved, who are no longer with us before we move on. So, and maybe you want to call out somebody's name who you want us to remember together.
Aftab?
Ashraf.
Rabia.
Habib.
Mirabai.
Maharaj.
Rabia.
Hazim. Akini Marcy.
Maria Christina.
Amin.
Azim.
Abraham.
Anastasia Barkat. Mikhail.
Mirabai. Mahmoud Crawford.
Abode Crawford. He's in the book. Rabia.
Iraq.
Ramana.
Muhyiddin.
Raphael.
Richard.
Louder.
Musawar Siegel. He incorporated the abode.
Edward.
Yes.
All those known and unknown. Thank you. We're coming back to the end of our time, and want to thank everybody who came and read, and we're going to have a closing. And before we close, I want to invite everybody. There are books outside. There'll be books at the shop and books at our table. And you just need to pick up a book, and when you get your book, go to the store and pay for it there.
The store being in the barn?
Yeah, the barn store, yeah, or the table. Well, you pay for it in the store. Okay. Any questions that anybody has, or anything anybody wants to add?
Thank you.
What? I just caught on your sweater.
We did it.
We did it. We're still friends.
They never talk to each other again. Another 10 years will go by, but she'll show up somewhere.
Yeah. So,
So there's a lovely poem here.
yeah. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Okay. So this poem was written by Heidi, who was working as part of the staff here in the office, but is not working here right now. But when she was asked to contribute a story, she couldn't think of anything. But that night, when she went to sleep, she dreamed of birds, beautiful birds, all night. She said it was the most peaceful dream that she'd had in years. And she says, I woke up with these words in my head. Dreaming of birds. It's my turn. Boy, you want to read it? Here. Let us lay our offerings down like golden eggs upon an altar, and together be the warmth that is needed to birth the energies we've carried with us so far. Let us be like geese that each know the path, yet navigate it together, because it makes it easier for all when they take the journey as one. Let us find new ways to trust that these wings are opening now will take us higher and further than we ever imagined we could go before. Let us be birds of a feather that flock together. Let us be the ones that we have been waiting for. We thank you, Harmony. So we thank you all so much for coming. And we just want to give you the opportunity to just put out a word, a sentiment. And
Call out anything that wants to arise from your heart to share with all of us. A word or two words. Loud, so we can all hear.
Heart connection.
Heart connection.
Oneness,
Extasa.
community, family.
Friends.
Commitment.
Forgiveness,
Service. Gratitude.
Vision.
Joy.
hard work.
Unstoppable.
Amazement.
No mold in the meditation.
Grief and celebration. Continuation.
Abundance.
Kids growing up into beautiful babies.
Gratitude,
Evolution. Beauty.
Awe.
Ancestry.
Continuity. Laughter.
The Abode Retreat 2075.
Intergenerational community.
Worship.
Happiness in the community.
Belonging.
Continuation.
Making it back in 2030.
Adventure. Heart opening.
Stream of guidance.
So why don't we all stand up?
Why don't we give them 3 yafatas?
And we're gonna
We're gonna give them back.
Yeah,
Fatah! Yeah, Fatah! Yeah, Fatah! Woo!
So, we hope we've inspired you, not that you might not already have been inspired, to really contemplate the abode and your life and where you are now, where the abode is now, and what might be your connection, what might you offer. You know, we're doing this together. You know, we love Gabriel and everybody who's helping. What's our part?
And where are we going? I guess we're going
Where
to
are
talk
we-
about
yeah.
that.
How can we hold the inspiration of Pir Vilayat for community in light of where we are now and where the world is now, and what's our calling, and how can we respond to that in a way that might make a tiny difference even? At least how we feel. So,
I'm
I'll
done.
cut him. Something?
Yeah, do you want to? Do you want to say Khartoum? Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty,
the
open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly comes from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide us. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. Amen.